one of the most fun formations that I've used this year. For those that don't know, my best comeback formation is actually not a 4-4-2, or it's the sister formation of it. It's the 4-2-4. We have uploaded all the videos from the Division 10 to the Elite Division series. We show you how to get from Division 10 all the way to Elite Division just using basic gameplay. We don't use no Travellas, we don't use no speed boost, we don't use no first time through balls, no mechanic abusing to show you how to get to the Elite Division. If you want to improve your gameplay just before team of the season and you really want to improve, come join my FC School, patreon.com/NoGuys. And let me tell you the guarantee as usual. If you don't get better after 1 month, we will refund your money. That is the Nil Guys guarantee. So if you join now, 1 month's time you don't get better, I'll refund your money. That is how sure and guarantee will improve. We got loads of tutorials, a complete structure, and we have all the other older tutorials and older videos as well. So if you ever want to go back and watch something from last year, you can do. And we have more tutorials than my YouTube channel. Everything goes in depth. Patreon.com/NoGuys. Link is down below in the description. Remember, if you don't get better after 1 month, we'll refund your money. Just follow the structure as I mentioned, and I promise you, you will improve dramatically, or you'll refund your money. Links down below in the description. And this is if you're looking to play the 4-4-2, but you want to be a bit more attacking, a bit more aggressive. This is one of the best formations to use inside the game. Now, the reason why I like this is that you have the inside forwards as left wings and right wings. Now, they're much more attacking than left mids and right mids, both in movement and both on how they play and how they attack. They're more attacking, more aggressive. And one of my favorite things that you can do, which you can't do in the left mids and right mids, is you can use inside forward roaming. Of course, that's a bit too aggressive. We're going to go through what I recommend, and I'm also going to tell you some fine tuning. So make sure you make the adjustments for yourself. This would be a good template to copy, but also adjust it for yourself. So for both the strikers, we'll come back to this in a second. For both the strikers, I always go with advanced forward and poacher, one or the other. So you have at least 2 different types of movements, especially if you're unsure about which one to choose. I would recommend using both of these type of movements. We're going to go over the Becoming Mortal Evolution at 6 p.m, so stay tuned for that one. But with this one, look, if you want to, you could use both of these players on advanced forward. I would say probably lean a bit more towards plus, especially at this stage of the game. I think plus and movement, because AI defense is so effective in terms of defensive awareness and player stats. You really do want to make sure you're really getting the best play in that position. But I know people mostly prefer advanced forward too. I prefer 1 poacher and 1 advanced forward. Now, for the inside forwards, when you're defending, you're still going to defend in a 4-4-2. People, they see this and they think, oh, I got 4 players on stay forward. No, if you put the inside forwards on balance, they'll play identical to how you would play with the 4-2-1-3. Now, with the 4-2-1-3, don't forget you basically have a cam, but instead we now have 2 strikers. Instead of 2 centre mids, or 2 CDMs, should I say, rather, we have 2 centre mids. So naturally speaking, the structure and the way that you play and using the width would be similar to the 4-2-1-3, except for your centre mids that sit higher, and then you have, instead of a cam, you got that striker. Think of it like the 4-2-2 almost as well, without the CDM safety net. Inside forwards, they come back. Now, personally speaking, I prefer inside forwards on roaming. Now, don't get me wrong, they stay forward. They don't come back. That means when you're defending, you're basically left with 2 centre mids and a back 4. This is what a lot of the top tier players, even the pro players, use this system. I think for the average player, they may find it difficult. You can try this. Before you go into the weekend league, give this a try. You're probably going to find this to be too attacking. And those in Elite Division Plus, you will actually very much like this. So I would recommend, although roaming has the best movement, hear me out, this has the best movement, especially if combined with, for example, attacking wing back, because that player goes on the outside and it pushes the left wing inside, in this case, Son on the inside, in between those half spaces, and they make those runs in between defensive lines, because you have 1 striker holding 1 centre back, this player overlapping, holding the other centre back, and then you have Son making the space in between the half space. Perfect for the Trivella, perfect for the finesse as well. Otherwise, leave this on balanced. I'd rather forget attack, in my opinion. Either leave it on roaming, because they still start wide. People think with roaming they're all over the place, they can't midfield. No. In the first 2/3, think like Guardiola's old style, the first 2/3 of the pitch, they're going to stay high and effectively wide. And then in the final third, that is when they go internally into the middle of the pitch as the inside forwards. So either leave them on balance or roaming. Now for the centre mids, I personally play 2 box to box. I think this is very appropriate. I think this gives you a good balance. You ideally, I'm going to be honest, I have 1+ here. You ideally want 2 players that can do a bit of everything. 2+ is what you want, because you want these players to be equally going forward when you win the ball back, but also going back and defending. With the plus, think of it like work rates from last year. The more pluses, or the 2 pluses that you do have, think of it like, if I had to put this in the last year's system, think of it like a high work rate of the year before. So the better movement you want, you ideally want to go for a plus plus. A plus is fine. You can even get away with a normal one if you use a lot of L1 triggers. But if you don't use a lot of L1 triggers, then that's when I'd say plus plus for the more natural movement without you worrying too much. If you're really trying to improve in the game and you're not that good at the game right now, let's say you're below Division 3, I would probably say try to get plus plus here. And what you can do, and you can see what a lot of the top tier players, I believe Anders does something like this. I saw one of Anders' tactics we'll go over another day. But Anders uses one on playmaker, one on box to box, and sometimes you see 2 of them on playmaker. Now for the average person, I think this is too much. Even for me, I think this is too much. I think if you want to go slightly attacking, you can go box to box and playmaker, but I think 2 playmaker, you really need to know what you're doing. It's very aggressive, very attacking, but it's very counter-attack prone. If I gave you that and someone copied it, there's going to be someone in Division 3 or like a rank 4 player is going to copy it and it's probably going to struggle. So box to box, and if need be, if you want to be a bit more, let's say like, oh, you know what, I don't mind having 1 box to box, 1 attacking, but I still want 1 as a safety net, then you could put 1 of the players on holding. Otherwise, I'd recommend 2 box to box, a bit of a balanced style, one on holding, and 1 on box to box if you want to be a bit balanced but slightly more attacking. And if you want to be very attacking, you can go 2 box to box. And if you really want to experiment, you can go with 2 playmakers. Deep line playmaker you can use as well instead of holding, but I very much prefer holding because I think for building up the play, they're in the right place at the right time. They don't sit too deep. And also, what's one thing you ought to note? The front 4 and the back 4, there's a big gap between them. With holding, I think they basically sit in the middle point. Perfect to launch the counter-attack and perfect to come back and defend. Now, for both the defenders, we've got defend, nothing funky going on here. And same with the goalkeeper. I leave my goalkeepers and goalkeeper defend, not sweeper keeper, although there's an argument for it. Personally, as you probably know, for the last, God knows, 4 or 5 weeks or so, I've been going goalkeeper defend. Now, for the left back and right back, you kind of have a bit of free roam. Personally speaking, for those that, if you have them on inside forward, these guys are inside forward roaming, you can put them on defend. Let's say you're like, oh, look, I've got no CDMs, and I completely understand that, and you want that safety net. You can put the fullbacks on fullback defend. That is completely up to you. That way you have a bit of a safety net, and you don't have to worry too much. At least you've got a back 4. So at least if you lose the ball and you get turned over, at least you've got a back 4 in shape. Otherwise, I would recommend balanced. I think with balanced, they're easily able to link up with the butterfly wings, I like to call them, or the triangles between a link-up play between the left wings and the left backs. You know, you could do a 1-2 push that player going onwards, and you can do something like that. Or something I'd recommend, and this only for Elite Plus, by the way, I'd recommend putting something on 2 of these players with wing backs. Now, I think this is too attacking for 99% of players, but anyone that's on the elite level, really top tier elite level, something you can experiment, or maybe even 1 with just balanced and 1 on wing back as well. But I think for the mass majority, but there is still elite players, of course, that watch this, and players that are really trying to push, especially anyone that wants to really push their level. I would say if you're very good at attacking, that's a very good front to choose as well. Then we go over to the build-up style. Now, as I've always mentioned, I still prefer counter. I think even with a system like this, you can even use do not use short passing. I think that's a bit too slow, bit too methodical. Don't forget, one of the key things with this formation is attacking and, of course, pressing. So I think you want to, as soon as you win the ball back, you want to go forward as well, especially if you like to mechanic abuse those first time through balls. You could use counter. Balance is a good option as well, but I much prefer counter. So you can use either balanced if you're a bit more slower, or you can use counter, what I'd recommend. Now, for the defensive approach, I would use 95. Now, this is more of a formation. Let's say you're inside the game and you're losing 2-0 or you're losing 3-0 and you're coming towards the latter end of the second half, maybe even 60 minutes, and you decide, you know what, I got to make a comeback. This would be the formation to use. This is not a formation to go in and start the game with. If you wanted to change, let's say you like this system and you wanted to change it to make it as a formation to start the game with and to go win the game with, you could do it with something like 70, just keep it simple. Something like 70 is a bit more conservative. You still have that AI pressure applying, but you're not going too gung-ho. And I'd recommend leaving the fullbacks either on balance or on defend. So if you do want to start the game, you can copy these exact tactics with that code on the top left, and that would be to start the game with. If you want to use this purely like a counter-attack formation, you could go with aggressive, and you can leave both these players on balanced. And then I would say, for example, go both of these players on box-to-box, and that way you have an aggressive system that you can change to when you're losing inside the game, and we've got the depth of 95. This is my favorite comeback tactic. In fact, sometimes I start this game and I think this is actually better than the 4-4-2 just because you have left wings and right wings. Yes, you're less defensive, but you're much more attacking. I'd rather be more attacking than less defensive. And let's be real. Let's cut to the chase here. Inside forwards, we all know, to keep this simple, with left wings and right wings, they don't really come back as left. Left wings, right wings sit a bit deeper, but left wings, right wings, they kind of stay forward. So if they want to stay forward and you're comfortable defending with 2 centre mids and a back 4, then you're very, very much fine. But that is the tactics for the 4-2-4. Don't forget, we've got the Become Immortal Evolution coming out at 6 p.m. today, so stay tuned for that because I know you'll be waiting for that one. And don't forget, if you want to get better at FC, we've got all divisions from Division 10 to Elite Divisions. All the videos are out now, so if you sign up, you can watch every single video from Division 10 to Elite Division, all 40 videos, I believe. And of course, all the tutorials. Links down in the description, patreon.com/no guys. Don't get belted 1 month with 20 money. No guys guarantee. Thanks for watching. Take it easy and catch you at 6 p.m. Peace.